Now let's add a timer that slides the action bar out of the way after 5 seconds. So the first thing we want to do is go to our styles, and here's our app theme, and I'm going to add an item, and this is the window action bar overlay, and set this to true. And this will expand the background to fill the entire drawable region for the app so that the action bar is drawn on top of the content instead of above the content. And for compatibility, I'm also going to include one without Android colon. And once again, this will maintain backward compatibility. So now my app is going to be drawn behind the action bar, and then I'm going to implement code to slide it up after 5 seconds and show it again when the user clicks on the layout. So let's implement a new method, make it public. And it's not going to take any arguments. So what we're going to do is, whenever we call this, we're going to create a new thread which is going to run in the background. And that's going to allow our UI thread to continue updating the screen so it doesn't lock up. So thread timer is equal to new thread. And then you have to supply a runnable, which is an object that contains a run method. So what's going to happen after you create the thread, when you start the thread going, it's going to execute the code in the run method of the runnable object. So let's create a new runnable. And then we have to supply a run method, which is what happens when the thread starts. And what this thread is going to do is it's going to sleep for 5 seconds. And to get rid of this error, what we want to do is wrap and try catch. So this is going to sleep for 5 seconds. If you get an error while it's sleeping, just kick out. Otherwise, we've made it to the end of the 5 seconds. Like this here. So what we want to do is slide the action bar out of the way. And I'm going to call another method called hideBar to do that. So here's my hideBar method. And I'm going to get the action bar. And then what I want to do is just basically bar.hide. But this isn't going to work because the thread that calls hideBar is a separate thread from the UI thread. And certain actions that deal with the interface have to happen on the UI thread. So what I'm going to do, let me run it this way and I'll show you the error. So I'm going to run this. Oh, I haven't hooked anything up to timed hideBar yet, so let me do that before I run it. So on the create method, right away, I'm going to call timed hideBar. So it's going to start up with the action bar showing, and then 5 seconds after the app starts, it will go to hide the bar, but that will cause an error. I'll keep using the small one. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we forgot to start the thread. So we created the thread, but we forgot to start it. So timer.start there. So we create the thread and then we start it. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this time we get the crash. So if you look at the error, it's complaining that animators may only be run on looper threads. So the main thread that controls the user interface is a looper thread. So what we want to do is, instead of calling bar.hide here, what we want to do is use the method runOnUiThread, and then this takes a runnable as well. So new runnable, and then inside of there we want to call bar.hide. We have to put this in here too. Okay, so now it should work. Two, three, four, five. Oh, and it slides out of the way, showing my chicken, beef, and fish buttons. Okay. So now what I'm going to have it do is, when you click on the image, it's going to show the bar again. That way, if you're clicking on the buttons, it won't slide in and hide them. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to add an onClick call to my, start with the portrait version. My image view onClick is going to call show bar. And let's do that for the main as well. So now we have to add the show bar method. And this is going to take the view that I clicked on, which I'm not going to do anything with. So all I need to do to show the bar is get the bar, and then I'm going to show the bar, and then I'm going to start my timed hide bar. One, two, three, four, 5. And if I click on a button, it works fine. If I click on the image, the action bar slides back in for 5 seconds, and then it slides back out. Okay, let's try it in landscape. And it slides out. So that's how you can use a background thread to time events in Android.